If you are LGBT+, then I have no doubt that the Daily Wire has become, like, it has a negative Pavlovian response programmed into you with the amount of negative stimulus generally associated with that term. The Daily Wire is an evil, evil, evil company. And I have to say, I'm impressed that even a lot of their own audience are starting to discover this. Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh both got their videos out on the Luigi Mangione guy at the same time. And because they all get their talking points from some CEO higher-ups through their earpieces and they say what they're paid to say, they said the same exact things, which were putting down Luigi Mangione and claiming the left are ravenous and murderous and insane because they are celebrating a murderer. What Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh and the CEOs of the Daily Wire who write their scripts did not predict, though, was that the majority of Americans in their audience are not billionaires and are not millionaires and they are not CEOs, and they actually really fucking hated that guy and really liked Luigi Mangione for shooting him in the fucking head. As a lot of Americans seem to also like the guy for shooting that CEO in the head. Which is kind of crazy when you think about it, that so many Americans across the political aisle really shed no tears over the blatant, broad moonlight murder of a guy in the street, you know? Like, that goes to show that the political state of things is in a really weird place when right and left-wing people reached across the aisle to shake hands on that issue. But it was CEOs that wrote those lines for Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh. It was CEOs that pay Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh to say those lines. And so what ended up happening was their audiences rebelled. And we saw Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh's fans ratio the fuck out of them and call them out. I did some videos about this recently. They were pretty good. And I think we're starting to see a pretty general flip away from the Daily Wire. They've also had some pretty big fuck-ups recently, like Matt Walsh's deranged and cringe takedown video trying to claim the Sonic 3 movie was like woke, insane garbage. The Sonic fan base and even his own fans came out to call him crazy and a boomer for that one, and ratioed the fuck out of him. The Daily Wire has just been getting ratioed a lot lately, and I think that might be demonstrative of what I hope is a bit of a shift in the tide of conservative audiences away from falling for these blatant corporate grifters who literally film all their videos in a suit on a multi-million-dollar set and claim to have more in common with you than the average Democrat politician, who, mind you, the average Democrat politician isn't even a millionaire. It is the norm for Republican politicians to be millionaires. And yet, we still accept this gaslighting that the Democrats and the Republicans are equally bad with money in politics. Never let this shit gaslight you, okay? Never let the right gaslight you on this stuff. But regardless of all that, enough background. We got some more recent news. You see, a conservative writer who frequently accused drag queens of grooming kids has been arrested. This is a Daily Wire writer, by the way. Has been arrested. And you'll never guess what for. We got any takers? Any takers in chat on what he was arrested for? Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times, and the first person guessed it. Yep. Molestation of a child. The self-professed Christian philosopher was arrested for molesting a child under the age of 12. We have said this many, many times, but every single conservative accusation is a confession. And the longer we operate without that being the immediate assumption, the more we are allowing predators to get away with it. Aaron Craig Gleason, an anti-LGBTQ+ writer who has accused queer people of grooming children for sexual abuse, has been arrested and charged for molesting a child under the age of 12. Gleason, a 39-year-old middle school teacher and soccer coach who has written for the anti-LGBTQ plus media outlets The Daily Wire, The Federalist, and The Imaginative Conservative, was arrested on January 28th by police officers in Okaloosa, Florida. He has been charged with the, quote, lewd and lascivious molestation of a child under the age of 12 by a person over the age of 18, and was held in jail on a $75,000 bond. The Daily Wire has already removed Gleason's author page from its website, but the Internet Archive has preserved the page. It reveals that he wrote 2 articles around 2022 about current Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. The Daily Wire and its numerous contributors have long claimed that LGBTQ+ people and their allies are, quote, indoctrinating and, quote, sexualizing children through public school education and media, which of course is their main way of convincing the general audience that the public education system needs to be gutted and defunded because they're grooming kids into being trans and they're pushing politics on them. So here is the Daily Wire's now deleted, covered up page for Aaron Gleason, the child predator, on their website. Thank you, Wayback Machine. A.C. Gleason is a proud Biola University alum, where he met his wonderful wife. He earned his M.A. in Philosophy of Religion from Talbot. He co-hosts and co-produces the AK-47 podcast with fellow Talbot alum Kyle Hendricks. You can find more of his writings on Medium and Ricochet.com. Follow him on Twitter at AC Gleason and his podcast, Aaron Kyle 47. He denies all accusations that Comrade Real Presence is his alter ego, although he hears that guy is awesome. Wow, what a funny little joke. What a funny little joke about his alt account where he probably says way more mask off stuff. In a June 24th, 2023 post on X, or Twitter if you're normal, Gleason shared a video of protesters from that year's New York City drag march chanting, quote, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children." That is definitely not a good chant. You know, there's been some conversations about whether or not certain LGBT rhetoric might have exacerbated the normies siding with Trump. Stuff like that was bad. Can we admit that? Like, pride marches in New York City, New York City's that year's New York City drag march, having a prominent chant of "We're queer, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children." I know why the chant is not really meant to come off as predatory. The joke is meant to trigger conservatives. It's meant to be, like, obviously they're not actually going after children, but, like, you know, we've got crime stats and stuff to back up that that's not the case, but it was meant to trigger conservatives by, like, saying something that would piss them off, but, like, literally playing into the lies they tell about the LGBT community because they know those lies, if believed to be true, will polarize people heavily against LGBT people. That is some seriously bad optics, and that kind of shit needs to stop. He commented, "No grooming going on here, they're just coming for our children." The video was originally posted on Twitter by Timcast News, a media outlet of anti-LGBTQ+ influencer Tim Pool. Last year, the Department of Justice named Pool as one of several right-wing influencers paid by a Russian government-funded media company to push Russian propaganda and disinformation to American audiences. Isn't it crazy how quickly we forgot about all that? Like, it all came out that these big right-wing YouTubers are paid by Russia. And now it's just, like, old news. And I think it's old news because no one was really that surprised. I think we all knew that was happening. While numerous anti-LGBTQ+ right-wingers pointed to the chant as proof that drag queens and LGBTQ+ people are grooming children for sexual abuse, the march's organizers told NBC News that the chant was a lighthearted, provocative, and deficient mockery of the anti-LGBTQ+ sentiment that drastically embraced the stigmatizing accusation. This works when the quote is something like, "We're here, we're queer, and we are in the military," right? Like, that is a good line, because when conservatives fearmonger that gay people are in the military, it's deranged. And simply triggering them by pointing that out makes them act more deranged than the concept of gay people in the military could ever come off as. But when you quote-unquote own it, or whatever, with your chant, to trigger conservatives on something that is a blatant, harmful lie, you're only playing into the lies they're telling to polarize people against you. So I get why they did it. The organizer makes sense here. There's been other chants that fit that kind of format, but this is not a case where you should ever have done that. Oof. That's rough, buddy. In his June 2020 article at The Imaginative Conservative, Gleason defends supporters of President Donald Trump against accusations that they are racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, or a basket of deplorables, and advocates for, quote, some form of secession between Americans who support Trump and those who see Trump as a bigot. Gleason's LinkedIn profile page and Facebook page, which has since been deleted, say he worked as a full-time teacher at the Rocky Bayou Christian School, or RBCS, for the last year and 7 months. In response to Gleason's arrest, of course he was a teacher, of course he was a soccer coach, of course he worked with kids frequently and was molesting kids frequently, while also talking about how gay people and trans people are trying to predate on kids and groom them. Of course. Once again, we need to establish it as a law among the left that we internally recognize any accusation made by a conservative as a self-report of their true intent and nature. If a conservative just out of nowhere accuses you of being a pedo, start digging through that motherfucker's likes and retweets. You might find some sick shit. Hopefully censored. God forbid. But, like, they probably are just blatantly self-reporting, and they probably haven't even done that great of a job of hiding the evidence that they're self-reporting. We need to start operating under the assumption that it is always a self-report when these people make some out-of-nowhere accusation. He went to Biola University, which is a super conservative Christian college. They are my school's athletic rivals. Interesting. In response to Gleason's arrest, Superintendent of RBCS, Mike Mosley, went out and sent out an email to parents obtained by Mid-Bay News that said, quote, I regret to inform you that one of our middle school teachers was arrested today by local law enforcement officers. The teacher has been on paid administrative leave and off campus for 2 weeks. RBCS is fully cooperating with authorities in this matter until authorities have concluded their investigation. Please pray for our school and students during this difficult time. Notice, by the way, no statement that this guy was a predator and has been charged with molestation of children while working with these parents' children who were receiving the email, but they do include, please pray for our school and students during this difficult time. What fucking monsters, dude. And of course he's on paid leave. Yep, he's on paid leave. Because when male teachers molest students, they end up on paid leave. When a trans person is trans publicly, they get accused of being a pedophile. And the standard of what a trans pedophile should be treated like compared to a straight cis pedophile is very different. Straight cis pedophiles get paid leave from the Christian school they work at. If you are a trans person who exists, you are labeled a pedophile falsely, and you are given the absolute ringing. People say that you should be put through the wood chipper more often than not. Many of you, if you're trans, have probably just been told that many times, that you deserve to go through the wood chipper because you're trans, and they view you as a predator because you're trans. That is one of their go-to threats. Gleason's LinkedIn profile states, quote, "I see myself as primarily an educator. I am a Christian and a conservative. I think that everything I do needs to be connected to openly serving my Lord and Master, Jesus Christ. He gave his life for me, and I need to give my life for him." Numerous commentators, or commenters, on an Instagram post about Gleason's arrest noted that his alleged molestation was committed by a Christian conservative rather than a drag queen. Christian churches have decades-long histories of child sexual abuse, and yet anti-LGBTQ+ right-wingers never mention this when accusing queer people of sexualizing children. Well, that is the situation, and I am not even a little bit surprised. Are any of you surprised? Like, at all? Like, legitimately, are any of you surprised? Because I wasn't even slightly. I don't think my eyebrows even raised when I saw the headline that a Daily Wire writer was arrested for molesting children. Like, it's just... Oh, about time. Another one. Okay, cool. Another one. Like, it's like... I'm not surprised when a conservative pundit who swears they're not racist has a video leak of them saying the N-word and going on some, like, Nazi rant. I'm not surprised by it because I know they're all racist deep down and they're just hiding it. And so I'm not surprised when they end up getting outed. Just like I'm not surprised when a conservative gets outed as a child molester. We all know they're child molesters. We all know that it's projection when they accuse trans people on the left of this shit. We're just waiting for them to get outed. And it just keeps happening. It just keeps happening. Anyway. If you guys enjoyed this segment, if you found it educational, entertaining, or in any way worthwhile, then please consider leaving a like, a comment, and a sub. Every single thumbs up and comment goes a long way to boost my channel and the algorithm in real time, by the way. And of course, if you comment and subscribe as well, you'll end up getting a lot more of my videos than you recommended. YouTube will actually tell you when I go live or upload, because if you don't ring that bell icon with the sub button, trust me, YouTube's not going to tell you anything. If you want to see me on other platforms, you can follow my social medias, linked down below in the description, particularly my fan Discord, where in just a moment, I'm going to be wrapping up stream and starting a watch party. We'll be doing a poll on what we watch, so it's going to be a grand old time. I hope you guys are down to join. It'll be in the Xander's Theater voice chat, or theater stage chat, I think it's called. Right as I'm wrapping up stream, I'll be hopping in there, so I hope to see y'all there. But regardless, if you also want to support me directly, you can afford it and you feel like it, then consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or buy some Xander Hall custom merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching, as always. And as always, I hope you have a good one.